Hello, I am Araitza Basolo, and I'm gonna make some connections between sequences from Sweet Promised Land and the input we have received mostly in units 3 and 4. First of all, I'm gonna make a brief summary of the book, and then, as I have said, I'm gonna make a connection between the input mostly, but not only, from units 3 and 4 with some sequences from the book. Okay, in Sweet Promised Land, we can find a portrait of an immigrant experience of a Basque shepherd there in the United States of America. The writer tells us the story of his father, a Basque American shepherd, who is persuaded by his family to return home for a long planned visit after living nearly half a century on the ranges of the American West. The story tells us how he travels to his native Basque country in the French Pyrenees, and it evokes on him ambiguous feelings. Finally, the nostalgic trip to his native land ends poignantly as the elder Laxalt realizes that America has become his true home. And in the book, by the speeches the old shepherd gives and his son collects, we can make an idea about how it was being a Basque immigrant in the United States of America at his time. So let's go with the linking of the input. The first sequence says, "Oh," said the clerk, diving in my father's question, "I believe I know what you mean. You must have been away for a long time. There are many Basques now in Paris." He looked at our registration. "You have been in America, I see. How many years since you have seen France?" So in this sequence, we have two Basques that meet in Paris, and one is living in Paris, and the other one is the main character of the book, that is a shepherd who migrated to the United States of America. So we can talk about migration and its scales and types. Migration is the movement of people from one place in the world to another for the purpose of taking up permanent or semi-permanent residence. As in National Geographic's Human Migration is said, migration occurs at a variety of scales. The intercontinental, that is the migration between continents; intracontinental, the migration between countries on a given continent; or the interregional one, that is the migration within countries. As in the text mentioned before is also said, the most significant migration pattern has been from rural to urban migration, the movement of people from the countryside to cities in search of opportunities. And we have also different types of migration. The internal migration, that would be moving to a new home within a state, country, or continent. External migration, that is moving in a different home, moving to a new home in a different state, country, or continent. And emigration, that it's leaving a country to move to another, and immigration, that it's moving into a new country. Okay. The second sequence says, "When I came, it was just to be just for a little while, just enough time to make some money and go back and help Mama and Papa." Here, the old Laxalt explains which were the reasons why he moved from the Basque Country to the United States of America. As Dr. Saika in his interview says, and as in National Geographic test is written, people move for a variety of reasons. We have some different structural factors, so as political factor, also economic factors that can be related to employment opportunities or the quality of work, but also related to cultural and social factors. But we can differentiate them into the called push factors, that would be these reasons for leaving a place or emigrating because of a difficulty, and the pull factors, that are the reasons for moving into a place or immigrating because of something desirable. The third sequence are two sequences, and the first one says, I didn't know what the hell was so funny, but I guess it was our clothes and the way we looked. And every time we talked in Basque, this sickly looking one would laugh like hell, so we was afraid to open our mouths anymore. And to suffer joyful shame because of that language and refuse to use it. Here, Laxalt explains how he felt about his identity when he emigrated to the United States. So we can talk about the cultural impact of immigration. Immigration generates changes. The immigrants themselves undergo a variety of transformation. Likewise, the immigration process inevitably changes the members of the dominant culture. In these sequences, we can talk about the called model of unilineal assimilation. That, for example, as the statistics on US immigration is said, would be the assimilation as a process of improvement and adjustment to American society, pushed by the feeling that so as to advance socially and economically in the United States, immigrants need to become American. But not only in the United States, as Ipsos Mori concludes and sets in Perceptions and Reality tests. Overall, in Britain, people mostly seem to want immigrants to fit in, but not to completely lose their own identity. Although, on the other hand, depending on how the questions are asked or formulated, a greater skepticism about recent multiculturalism than support is shown. Suárez Orozco defends a more promising path is possible, like to cultivate the emergence of new hybrid identities and transcultural competencies, blending elements of the own culture with that of the new, unleashing new energies and potentials. Okay, so will we go on with the fourth sequence I have chosen that say, they are just non damn good. You get next to them and you'll find out. You know, I don't think I'd fool around with those Puerto Ricans. There's no use taking chances. In the book, as in these sequences we can see, we can find out how immigration also makes go out some prejudices, racism in people. As in the pedagogy of the meaning of racism is said, prejudice would be the preconceived opinion not based on reason or actual experience. And the original definition of racism said that the racism is the belief that all members of a proposed race possess characteristics, abilities, or qualities specific to that race. It's also said that it's a particular form of prejudice defined by preconceived erroneous beliefs about race and members of racial groups. But as I have said, that definition is the original definition. And as Hoyt describes in the text mentioned before, I mean the pedagogy of the meaning of racism, the term's definition must evolve and has evolved as the society has also done. For example, Wellman gives a definition that links two terms in an equation, that is the one that we can see here. Wellman says that racism is prejudice plus power. And the fifth sequence says, because they were Basque and their pride was their flaming shield. And we can talk by using this sequence about stereotypes. As Oxford Dictionary defines, a stereotype is a widely held but fixed and oversimplified image or idea of a particular type of person or thing. Though Basques were also protagonists of the so-called Age of the Great Overseas Migration, it's been a relatively unknown identity in the field of American immigratory studies. But in spite of that, a stereotype and evolution of Basque identity have been formed, as Álvarez Gila concludes from the cinema, what he called sheep and bombs. And we can say that the stereotypes in general, as in this case happens with the sheep, as in the book is we talk about a shepherder, the stereotypes are closely related to the evolution of the Basque identity presence in the American mass media. And that's all for the moment. Thank you for listening. Here you have the bibliography I have used to make this presentation. Thanks for listening and see you soon. Bye.